Hi everyone, Anchita this side. Welcome back to AV Automation Hub. In today's video, I'll discuss the various features and capabilities of Chrome DevTools. So Chrome DevTools is a robust toolkit which is integrated into the Google Chrome browser and that helps us with a variety of tasks like inspecting or debugging web pages so that we can analyze the performance and the network activity. With DevTools, you can also simulate different type of devices. You can test how your web page looks on different devices and how it performs. In order to understand the different capabilities and features of Chrome DevTools, I'm taking the sample website. For the demo purpose, I'm taking this twitter.com. So now this is our web page and there are multiple ways to access it. First way is you can access it using this three dot. So you see this three dot at the top right corner. Just click on this, click on more tools, and then you will see Chrome DevTools. The first way is this. You can access the Chrome DevTool like this. The second way is you can also do a right click on the page and click on inspect. Then again, it will open your Chrome DevTool. This is the second way. The third way is using the keyboard shortcut. So depending on your system, if it is Mac or if it is Windows, you can see the keyboard shortcut and then open it using that also. So for example, in Mac, how do we open it? We open it using Command Option I. So if you're a person who loves using keyboard shortcut, then machine, you can access it like this. So these are some of the different ways to access our Chrome DevTools. So you can change the view from here. So for example, if you want to have this view in the below section, you can do that also. You just have to click on these three dots and you see this dock side. So whatever dock side you want, you can choose that. If you want it, in the bottom section, you can change it like this. So you see, now it is moved to the bottom of the page. So from here, from the three dots, you can just change the dock set. If you want it as the individual, you can have that also if you want it like this. So either way, you can decide whatever is suitable for you. You want to have it in the bottom or if you want to have it on the left or right, you can check that. So for me, I'm comfortable with having it on the right side. Okay, so I'm just moving it to the right side. So we'll start from the left part. So the first part is this one. This is actually inspecting your element on the page. So this is the element tab, which is basically your HTML and CSS. This contains your DOM part. So for example, you want to inspect anything on the page. For example, you want to inspect this Amazon. So how we can do that? You just have to click on this cursor on the left side and go over there, and then the respective element in the DOM would be highlighted. So you see over here. So if I select the browser and select this Amazon, so on the right side in the DOM section, you can see this got highlighted. So this is very useful when you are doing automation because in web automation, we need to find locators in order to automate the web page. We need to interact with the web page, and how we interact, we use the locators. So you can actually find from here, you can find the XPath or you can find the CSS. So in order to do that, you need to inspect the element and find its locator. You can also do one thing. You can just do a right click and you can copy XPath from here. For example, if I want to copy the XPath, you can copy that also. So you can also search the text in this DOM. So how you can do that? Just click on this elements tab, do a control F or a command F, and then you can search. You can search by string, by XPath, by CSS. So you can search it in different ways. So you see this Amazon text is basically appearing 66 times in your DOM. So you see this count. This is 2 out of 66. If we go down, we can see all the Amazon text in your DOM. And like if you want to search for XPath also, for example, if you are copying XPath from here, so if I copy the full XPath and then search here in the DOM, so it will give me the result for that. So currently we just have single result with that XPath. So this way you can also find the locators on the page using this elements tab. The other thing, what you can do with the element, you can also change the text on the page. So this is basically useful for designers who want to see the layout of the page. So what they can do, they can modify the code in real time and see the changes reflected on the page. So if you want to experiment with different styles and layouts, you can do that also. So how you can do that? For example, if I want to change this Amazon. So currently the text is Amazon. For example, I want to change it to my name. I'll just change it to Anchita. And if I click like this, you see this got changed. In case if your designer wants to experiment and see how it looks with different layouts, with different text, they can also use this element tab and experiment with it, right? The second thing is this device toolbar. If I hover over it, you see toggle device toolbar. So over here, you can select different devices which are already present in the list. For example, we have iPhone SE. If you want to check for the different dimensions, which is basically your different width and height, you can simulate that also. So you can see how your web application will look in that particular viewport. For example, you do not have a real device. So in that case also, you can use the Chrome DevTools and use this device toggle bar, and you can select any device from here. For example, you want to check on Android device, Samsung Galaxy, you can check that also. If you want to check on iPhone, you can select any of the devices present over here. You can check that also. And if you want to edit, for example, you want to check for a specific viewport with specific width or height, you can do that as well. So what you have to do, just click on edit. You can add new device. You can add a custom device over here. Just click on custom device. For example, test iPhone 15. So I'm just passing now the different width and height. For example, 670 to 829. Fine. And over here, now if I select my iPhone 15, so you see this one. So this is just a sample width and height. If you know the width and height, and if it is not listed over here, you can actually add your custom device as well. So yeah, this is what you can test with a different device toggle bar. So we already covered the element. With the element, like I discussed, you can find the locator, you can change the text, you can experiment with the text over here. And you can, if you want to copy the CSS, if you want to copy the XPath, you can check that. You can search for a string over here. You can search for selector. You can search for XPath, or you can search for a string over here. The next tab is console tab. This is also very important tab. So being the tester, it's very important for us to inspect and debug the web pages to analyze the performance or network activity. For example, you're clicking on button on the page. For example, you're clicking on follow and it's not working. If you do not know how to access Chrome DevTools or what to check in Chrome DevTools, you will directly raise a bug and say, this button is not working. But if you want to go one step ahead, what you will do, you will check in the console, you will check the network call, you will see which API is failing, you will see what is the error you're getting in console part. So this is what you should be doing as a tester. You should be checking the console log first. You should be checking your network calls and then going to the developer with proper details. So that makes their life easier, and it gives you also more confidence about your web application. If you know what is failing, you will have a deeper understanding of the web application. So this is our console tab. In console tab, what we can do, you can check the errors. So you can check the warning message. You can check all the errors which are appearing on the page. For example, over here, we can see there are 4 errors. So if I click on this, you see these are the console errors which are happening on the page, and we see there is no warning, there is no information, there are just 3 errors. In console, you can also perform calculation. For example, you're on this page, you just want to do some calculation. For example, 90 plus 56 into 7. You see, you don't need to open calculator, so by default it will tell you this result. So apart from the calculation, if you want to log message or run the JavaScript code, you can do that also. For example, you want to print hello world. So how we can do that? We can do like this. So console.log, and then you can print the message. For example, I will print hello world, and then type like this. So you see this hello world, we can see. So you can print like this also. So let me remove this one. Let's go back to our original mode of the web page. The next thing, what you can do, for example, you want to get the URL of the page. So how you can do that? You can access the DOM, which is using document. So dot URL. So just type document.url, and then you will get the URL of the page. You see this one? So this is the same URL which we are accessing. It gives you the same URL over here also. So you can run your JavaScript code, you can do the calculation, and in case you want to verify the data layer, which is basically a JavaScript object which contains information about the user interaction or the website even, you can do that also. You just have to enter data layer and it will give you all the details about that. So that is mainly used in order to check the web analytics or the marketing tracking. It's not commonly used in all the teams, fine, but you should be knowing how to access it. Now the next tab is sources tab. So with sources tab, you can actually debug the JavaScript code. You can set the breakpoint. So for QAs, how it is beneficial. So there are some websites in which the elements disappear on the page. For example, in case of Smart Search, the element disappear. So in that case, what you can do, you can just go to your source and go to the snippet, and you can add a snippet and add a debugger over here. So your page will go in the pause mode and you can inspect the element from the page. Okay, so this is where source tab is useful. So in order to see this, let's go to YouTube and see the example of this source tab where source tab is useful. For example, we have this search option over here. So this is a smart search. If I search over here Cypress, you see this one, and as soon as I try to inspect it, it will be gone. You see, this is gone from here. So in order to freeze it, what we can do, we can just go to our source tab and we can add a snippet over here. So what you have to do, click on new snippet, add debugger, search this one, and now run this. So you see this one? Now you can easily inspect it. So if you want to inspect this one or you want to inspect the Cyprus country, you can easily inspect this. It will not disappear this. So this is how you can use source tab, right? So this is one of the usage of the source tab. So let's go back over here. Now our next tab is network tab. This is one of the most used tabs. So over here, what you can do, if you want to see the images on the page, so what you can do, you can just go to this image section and you see this. It will actually display all the images which is there on the page. You see this one? So you can see all the images. If you want to see all the network call, you can just go over here and you can see all the network call on the page, right? But generally what we do, we just search the XHR request, which is your XML HTTP request. So whenever you perform any action, there will be some API call over here. So in order to track that, what we can do, first of all, with this one, we can just clear our network log. And now, for example, if I click on follow, I want to see which API got called. So I can see as soon as I clicked on follow, these were the APIs which got called. So you can check the headers over here. You can check the request call. You can check the payload which is getting passed, right? You see this one? You can check the payload. For example, for this code we got is 200 from the headers tab. You can check the status code of this API call. So whenever you're doing any testing, it's very important for you to know whenever there is any failure or there is some delay on the page, you can see which API is taking long. You can check, you can directly go to your network tab and check the headers, what we are passing, and check the status code. You can check the payload, whatever is getting passed. And from the timing tab, you can also check the how long it is taking. So over here, you can check the timing also for that API call. Now let me take you to one more application, which is an e-commerce website, and we can see how we can use the network call in the real-time scenario. For example, this is an open cart website, and I have already opened my network tab over here. So let me clear this one. For example, I want to add iPhone into my cart. So what I will do, I'm just clicking on this button. And over here in the network tab, I can see the API, this API is getting called. Now, if you want to do it using Postman, you want to hit this API and verify the response, what you can do, just click on this one, do a right click, click on copy and click on copy as call. Now we have copied the request from here. And now let's go to Postman. What we can do, just click on the import button, go to the raw text and copy the call over here. So this way, actually, you can access the API through your Postman also. And if I hit this API, what will happen? You see this response? We are getting 200 OK and we are getting this response. And if I compare with the response which we have in the web page, let me show you. So you see this? This is the same response which we are getting in our API call as well. You see this one? So now we added it multiple times. That's why it's showing total 5 items. Earlier it was 4 items. The main thing is to show you how you can access any API from the web page and check it locally on Postman. So you can test the APIs in this way also. For example, you need an API, but you don't have a Swagger. So you can also check this way. You can copy the curl from the web page like this. Just go to this copy and copy as a curl, and then go to Postman, import that one, and you can access that endpoint. And this is also helpful when you're trying to automate any API. If you do not have the details, you can get the API like this and you can automate it. Over here, you can see the post call. We've also got the body over here, right? And in the header tabs, you can see the headers which are there. So you can see what are the mandatory headers. So this is one of the usage of network tab. The other thing is this throttling. So what does throttling mean? In throttling, if you go, you can see how you can actually access your website under different network conditions. For example, you are accessing your web application with a 3G network, right? But if you want to see how it will respond with slow 3G, how you can do that? You can actually set it to slow 3G and you can perform testing on the page. For example, I'm clicking on this one. I can see how is it working with slow network, how is it working with the fast network. So you can also use a throttling tab, you can change the network conditions over here and check that. The other thing is the preserve log over here. So if you want to preserve the log, if you do not want to clear the log on the page reload or navigation, you can do a preserve log. If I refresh my page, so this time you see my network calls, it is not getting cleared out. Earlier, if I was not doing preserve log, it was getting cleared out. For example, if I uncheck this one, if I refresh the page again, so you will see all my network calls got cleared out. So this is the benefit of using preserve log. If you are debugging something on the page, or if you are getting some error you want to preserve, you can do a preserve log and you can see the multiple API calls on the web page. The other thing is, if you want to search for a specific API call, you can do that also. For example, if I click on this add to cart button, and now if I click on this test anything and just click on the add to cart again, so I will see two API calls. But for example, you're working with a website which has multiple API calls and you want to search for a specific one. How you can do that? You can also filter over here. For example, if I want to search for test API call, we do not have any test API call. You see, there is no result. But if I want to search for index.ph, it is returning me two API calls. For example, if I'm entering PHP1, there is no API call with that. So you can also see the request for all the images over here. You can go to image and check for the image call on the page. For example, this one Canon, you see, we have the image call on the page. So this is how you can access network tab. And this is one of the most used tab while accessing the Chrome DevTools. So as a tester, you should be knowing how you can search any API, how you can copy that API and test it manually through Postman, and how you can test with the different network conditions. The next thing is the application layer. So now I'll take you to the application layer. So this is also very important. So in application layer, you can inspect and manage different aspects of a web app, including the network request, caching, and storage. So first one is basically your local storage. So this is a key value pair, you see. So over here, this is a key value pair, and currently it is empty, but it allows web application to store the data locally within the user's browser. So this data is there even after your browser is closed or your computer is shut down. It makes a local storage good choice if you want to store some user preferences or other kind of data that should be there across the browser session. You can store it over here. So this is a benefit of local storage. The other thing is we have cookies over here. So you see this one, we have a cookie over here. So these are the small text files that a website can store on user's computer to remember their preferences or login information. So for example, if I delete my cookies, all the data you see the 6 items, it will be 0. So for example, if you want to delete the cookies, do a right click and clear this cookie from here. So if I delete the cookie from here and if I refresh my page, you see, now it is showing 0 item. Earlier it was 6 items because it was taking from the cookie. So this is how you can clear your cookie, and this is how your cookie is getting used to check the information. Fine. The other thing is we have session store also. So session store is again a key value pair, but this is for the duration of the current browser session. If you close your browser, that data would be gone. So this is for the temporary storage that doesn't need to be there beyond a single browser session. Whereas the local storage, it is for the longer duration. Fine. So this is the difference between local storage and session storage. These are the main tabs which we have in the Chrome Dev. So it's very important for you to know different features of Chrome DevTools and how we can make use of this Chrome DevTools in our day-to-day in our daily testing. And overall, it is a very powerful set of debugging and development tool which allows QAs and developers both to efficiently inspect, debug, and optimize web applications. So even if you are a beginner or experienced, it will help you to improve your productivity and streamline your work. So yeah, that's it for today's video. If you find it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. And if you have any queries, you can just post that in your comment box and let me know which one is your favorite tab over here in the Chrome DevTools. And are you already using this feature or is it a new for you? And thank you for watching.